Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Reeti and I am back with another lecture in the OS series. In the last lecture, we learned about process, programs and threads. In this particular video, we would be learning about types of operating system followed by batch operating system. So without any further ado, let's get started. So these are all the types of operating system. First one is batch operating system. Second is multi-programming operating system. Third is multitasking operating system. Fourth one is real-time operating system. Fifth one is distributed operating system. Sixth is clustered operating system. And seventh is embedded operating system. We would be learning about each of this operating system in depth. But for this particular video, we would be learning about batch operating system. So let's start. So batch operating system were introduced in the early 1950s to improve efficiency in processing multiple jobs. Now earlier what used to happen was the computers were not interactive enough. So user used to prepare a job. Now that particular job has some program like some code, then some input data, then some instructions, and that were feeded into punch cards or paper tapes, and then we used to get the output. So earlier computers were not interactive devices. User would prepare a job by writing programs on punch card or paper tapes along with the input data and instruction. So user used to create a job. In this particular job there was input data, then there was instructions, then there was program, and this particular job was then feeded into the punch card, and then we used to get the output. So this was done per job, like at a single time frame we were only allowed to provide a single job. Now here you can see that the user provided the job, now it is fed into the punch card, the processing happens and we get the output. But this is a very tedious process because for each and every job we have to again do all these repetitive process. So because of this the batch operating system came into picture. So in batch processing these jobs were then submitted to a computer operator. So in batch operating system what happened was we introduced an operator. What this operator did was, consider there are multiple users and there are multiple jobs for each particular user. So what it used to do is, it used to check that if there are two jobs of similar kind or if there are two jobs who are doing the similar task. So we can club that particular jobs into batches using the operator. So operator used to perform the logic on the same, like consider if this job is using COBOL, this job is also using the COBOL programming language, then these both could be clubbed together and then they could be created as a separate batch. Same for this job and this job, we can club together and create a batch. And now we can provide the batch to the computer so that the batch processing will happen now. So the system executed jobs in the order they were received without having any user interaction during the execution. So earlier again the computers were not interactive enough, so there were no user interaction which were happening in the computers. So that is why we used to provide the input data priorly, not in the runtime. So like, did you also thought that earlier also operating system would give us the results in consider milli or nanoseconds? No, that was not the case. So actually there is a, like you can say, evolution of the operating system starting from 1950s till date. Now a batch operating system groups similar tasks together, process them without user interaction. It is good for processing large amount of data that don't need immediate attention, but it takes time to finish the entire batch. As I told that we are clubbing the jobs into a single batch. Now this particular batch would have two jobs. There would be other batches which may have more than 2 or 3 jobs. So that will take a little time to process. Now this batch operating system was somehow resolving some issues, but there were still some issues because the processing time was very slow. So how this used to work is, jobs are created and sorted in batches like a queue. Now the system processes the entire batch one by one without waiting for the user input while it runs. Now there is no direct interaction with the user once the job is submitted. So once the job is submitted, there is no user interaction which is needed, and the system used to process the entire batch one by one without waiting for the user input while it runs. Now what are the examples for this? So early mainframe systems like IBM OS 360, where jobs like payroll processing were done in bulk. So as I told that batch operating system somehow solved issue of like earlier the user used to provide only one job, but now we can provide the jobs in batches. But still there were some issues like the processing was not very fast, and also CPU used to wait for like a longer duration of time. So there was also a speed mismatch between the input outputs and the CPU. So in batch operating system, jobs were executed sequentially. without user interaction. However, the input-output operations were significantly slower than the CPU execution, because like processor executes task very fastly, but input-output operation can't match that particular speed. So, which was causing the CPU to remain idle for waiting input and output. So, this is inefficiency leading to the introduction of spooling. Now, here we got the concept of spooling, which could help us in this particular case. So, which allowed the jobs to be queued in a buffer. So, we actually created a buffer, or you can say is called as a spool disk, now enabling the CPU to process other tasks while the input-output operations were handled in the background. So, spooling is an acronym for simultaneous peripheral operations online. It decouples the CPU from slow input-output devices. So, basically this decoupling has already happened here, and it allowed batch systems to handle input and output. It created a buffer, which is called a spool disk, that allowed multiple jobs to be queued. So let's understand from an example that how spooling is helping in reducing the CPU wait time. So here we have 3 jobs in a batch system. Job A, which needs some input, maybe reading from a file. Job B, which needs CPU for computation, and job C, which needs output, basically printer, disk write, etc. Now, without spooling, the CPU would remain idle while waiting for slow input-output operation to complete. So, CPU needs to execute job A, but since job A needs some input operation to be completed, the CPU would be waiting idle for that particular time. So basically with spooling, CPU keeps working while input-output happen in the background. So with spooling, what will happen? If the job A needs some input, it will happen in the background. If job C needs some output, it will happen in the background. Meanwhile, CPU will just go ahead and do the completion or execution for job B. So here in the step 1, job enters the spool, that is buffering. So here you can see that job A requires some input. So that particular request will be provided in the spool disk. Job C requires some output. So that particular request will also be fed into the spool disk. Now job C only requires the CPU usage. So job B will be executed first rather than job A and job C, because for job A and job C, CPU needs to sit idle for some duration of time until or unless the input-output operation is completed. So job A input is temporarily stored in a spool disk buffer. Job C output is also stored in a spool instead of sending it directly to the printer. Now CPU utilization is maximized. While job A is waiting for input, job B only needs CPU. So job B will start its execution. While job C is waiting for output to complete, the CPU can process another job rather than waiting idle. So since job B is being executed, now CPU can process any other job rather than waiting for job C, which is waiting for the output. Now step 3, that is parallel execution, overlap of input, output and CPU. So job A gets the input from the spool, instead directly waiting for the input device. Since job A has already given the request of that particular input, operating system process that request and provide the same in the spool disk. So job A can directly read from the spool disk rather than reading from the input device. Job B executes on CPU. Job B execution happens on CPU since job A and job C was waiting for some input-output operation. Job C output is stored in the spool and sent to the printer asynchronously. So job C output is now again stored in the spool and it is sent to the printer whenever the printer is free asynchronously. This is how spooling can help us in reducing the CPU wait time. Now, what are the reasons for spooling? So the very first one is CPU and input-output speed mismatch. As I told, that CPU used to directly interact with the input-output devices, so there was a speed mismatch which was happening because processor used to process a lot of data in very short duration of time, but input-output devices is very slow. So CPUs are much faster than the input-output devices like printer or disk drive. Without spooling, the CPU would remain idle while waiting for the slow input-output operations to complete. Now the next one is efficient resource utilization. So spooling allows multiple jobs to be queued in a buffer, basically this particular spool disk, so that CPU can continue processing on other tasks while waiting for input and output. Consider that right now the CPU is waiting for input and output, but there are some jobs which is queued in this particular spool disk. So CPU will directly go to the spool disk and tell that if you have any jobs, let me process that particular job and then we can send it to the output device. Now batch processing improvement. So in batch systems, spooling helped queued jobs in advance, allowing continuous execution without waiting for manual input. Again, we used to provide everything in batches, so it helped in like processing all the batches at a same go, like simultaneously, which was helping with the continuous execution for all the jobs without even waiting for the user input. Now let's see what are the earlier versus now after spooling. So earlier output devices such as printers were much slower than the CPU, basically output CPU mismatch. If a job output was sent directly to a printer, the CPU would have to wait until the printer finished printing before continuing with the next job. So CPU needs to wait to process the next job, because right now printer is already occupied. But now what happens, it goes into the spool disk, so CPU doesn't needs to wait. But now with spooling, the output was written to a disk, a much faster medium, and later printed asynchronously. This allowed the CPU to immediately start processing the next job, significantly improving the system throughput. So basically the throughput of the system is also increasing, because throughput is basically the number of tasks completed per unit time. So now it is getting increased because now CPU is not waiting idle for a longer duration of time. It is taking all the queued jobs and doing the processing on that. Now earlier, without spooling, the system could only handle one job input output at a time. As I told, because of this reason only the batch processing system came into picture. Input devices like card readers and output devices like printers were idle while the CPU was processing a job. But now with the spooling, it allowed the system to overlap input output and computation. While the CPU processed one job, the system could simultaneously read the next job's input from the card reader into a spool and write the current job's output to the spool for later printing. But now the input device can read everything from the card reader and provide it in the spool disk. Once the processing for this particular task is done, then the output device can also go to the spool disk and read that particular output and print it at later moment of time. So this is how earlier versus now after spooling, it helped a lot in the processing time. It helped a lot in the speed mismatch which were happening between the input output devices and the CPU. So this is all about batch operating system, spooling. Spooling is kind of an important concept, so I'll suggest you that don't skip this particular topic. It may be asked in your semester exams. So this was all about this video. I hope you like this video. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you are new to my channel, can go ahead and watch out the tech content first. And if you find it useful, can go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you have not followed me on my social media handles, you can go ahead and follow. The links are in the description. Till then, take care, keep learning, keep growing, keep smiling. Bye all.